everyone. Today we will be talking about progressive web apps and how it compares to mobile apps. Over to you, Martin.
Yes, so I think I should start in the beginning. A lot of people don't know
what is a progressive web app.
Yes, I think that's a very good place to start.
Yes.
I think a lot of people have never even heard the term. I mean, they've never heard of a progressive web app or a website that's progressive. It's one of the best kept secrets out there, and it's something that business owners definitely need to be aware of. Now, what is a progressive web app? It's pretty much a website that has got advanced functionality in it that can make it behave as if it's a mobile app on a mobile device and even on your desktop PC. Now, the reason why it's very relevant is that the traditional way of doing things is that you have your website. Most businesses, most businesses have some kind of a brochure website where at least, a brochure website is a good idea to just, when you want something in place that's basic and reflects your branding. So most businesses that start out in the first few years, the most important thing is visibility. So that's brochure websites, a great way to get visibility. And you can create a brochure website on any platform like a WordPress, Drupal, or Joomla. So that is not what we do. We're not marketing experts. We focus on business automation. So in your beginning phase of your business, you've got this problem of not having enough business. So you try and improve your visibility, you get more business. So what happens after a few years? The problem changes. If you do very high quality service, word starts to get around, word of mouth, and you start to get visibility, then your problem changes from not having enough business to having too much business, or business that might be difficult to cope with. So now you need to start looking at your business processes, your sales, marketing, operations. So those are the typical kind of processes that can become challenging as your business grows, and now you need to start looking at ways of automating it. So now you've got your brochure website. So now you want to start automating processes in your business. So there are different kinds of applications that you can develop to help you. So traditionally, people will then keep their brochure website, and they might consider, developing, for example, a mobile app that could be used by your clients or your suppliers, or could be used internally. Now, the problem with mobile apps is that you get them in South Africa. You've got I think 15% has got Apple phones. So what's that? 85% of users are using Android phones. But your Apple users are diehard fans typically. So you will never get them. And I think, Melanie, you're one of them.
Absolutely.
Good luck in trying to convert people from, parting with their Apple phones. You're very brave if you try to do that. I wouldn't recommend it. So the problem that you have is now you need to develop an Android app, and you also need to develop an app that will work on iOS devices, Apple devices. So now you're sitting with two development projects, and you're sitting with your website. Now, the reason why progressive web apps are the best kept secret ever is you can develop a single website, and then just by enabling it to be progressive, it behaves very similar to a mobile app. And the amazing thing is that that website can then be installed as if it's a mobile app on your device, and it will work on any device, whether it's Android, iOS, whether it's a desktop PC or a Mac, whatever you're using, it will work on there. So this is definitely something to take notice of. If you're a small business and you've reached a point where you want to start automating things in your business and you're looking for the most cost-effective way of doing it.
Yes.
So I think, Melanie, you're the one that sort of helps me keep on track of things. I think I've listed one benefit. And there's a long list of benefits. Just remind me.
Well, I think one of the most important things you did actually touch on is that it's more cost effective than actually developing a mobile app itself, because you have to have two versions. But another thing that I think is a great advantage is the fact that it's much more able to share it without complex installations.
Yeah, sure. So what happens if we're going to make a tech tip video just showing you how easy it actually is to open a website like Pinterest and just quickly click on a button, and that Pinterest will then become a mobile app on your phone. So please have a look at that video. But the bottom line is when you're installing an app, a mobile app, you have to go to the Play Store on an Android phone. Now you have to go search for that app. Now you have to click on install. Now it starts to download and then you can start to use. That's the process. And the same process on an Apple device. You go to the App Store. On an Apple device, you look for your app, you download and install it. With a web app, you literally go to the website and you just click on the install option on the actual website and it's there. So now, if you want to share a link to a mobile app, you need to go find it in a specific store, find the share button, click on it, copy it to the clipboard, or click on the WhatsApp icon and send it. Now, if you want to share a web app, the web app is pretty much the website. So if somebody knows what the address is of the website, you just type in the address of the website and that's it. So it's very easy to share. You just put in the address of the website or even the name. People can look for it in Google. They never have to go to the Play Store.
And also the fact that it's more secure.
Yes, so in terms of security, when you install a mobile app on your device, the end user must give obviously you must give permission to use all the permissions that the app needs. Now, I don't know about you, but I mean, who of us actually goes through that full list of permissions to check it out? And this could be something that's prohibitive, might make people wary of using your mobile app. And some of these permissions get quite interesting. I mean, you can give an app permission on an Android device, to look at your contacts, to make phone calls on your behalf. It gets quite interesting. Now, they've made progress in this regard that in the past, you had to go through this entire list before you download a mobile app, and then, that's it. But these days, you tend to download the app, you can start using it, and then if it requires a specific permission, there's a pop-up that pops up and it asks you permission. Now, because a progressive web app is not a mobile app, it doesn't work that way. It's just as safe as opening a website, because in essence, it's a website with added advanced features on it that makes it available on your device. So that means that it's just as safe as opening a website. You don't have to worry about it getting access to your contact list or sending emails on your behalf or making phone calls or doing all kinds of weird things, looking at your GPS coordinates. I mean, if it's you must give it permission to basically do anything that's unusual. For example, if it wants to look at your location. And if it wants to open a camera, your camera app, it will ask you. And the other thing, those are and push notifications, you also must give permission to. And that's actually a very big benefit of progressive web apps. And people tend to businesses want to have mobile apps for their clients because it gives them the ability to push notifications to all the users on their phone. So basically, you'll just be walking around with your phone and suddenly there's something that notifies you. There's a special or let's say you have Pinterest on your phone, there's new content you might relevant. Let's take YouTube, for example. Listen here, there's a new video to a channel you subscribe to. So this is a very useful thing in today's world where, if you put a message out there on Facebook, for example, how do you know whether anybody ever sees your message in your feed? Because it gets filtered by Facebook, people swipe through it quickly. So you get your customers' undivided attention. Now, nobody wants additional sort of ads on their phones and things. So you need to make sure if you're going to be using push notifications that it really adds value to your client. The last thing you want to do is you want to spam them. But it does open the door to some very unique communication opportunities between you and your clients or your suppliers.
So when it comes to progressive web apps, push notifications, do they work on all of the different devices, Martin?
Yes, so push notifications, that's quite I'm glad you're asking the question because it's quite a sensitive topic. On Android device, so what happens is push notifications needs to be supported by the web browser that you're using. Now, Chrome supports, most web browsers out there supports push notifications. So it means that if you have a website that's progressive, it will work on most platforms, on most web browsers. But, and there's a big but, unfortunately, it's not supported on Safari web browser on iOS devices. And even if you install a web browser like Chrome on a device, on an Apple device specifically, that Chrome is pretty much just a wrapper around the Safari browser. So even if you're installing Chrome or another web browser on an Apple device, you won't, the push notification won't work. Now, something that is quite important to note is that in the US, I think this is something that's holding back the adoption of PWAs, progressive web apps, in the US, for example, because they're sitting with a market share of about 52%. So it means if you want to do push notifications on PWAs, you're sitting with about half your market that you lose. But now in South Africa, we're only sitting with Apple with about a 15% market share. So it means it means you're only losing out on 15% of your market if you want to do push notifications. So that makes it very attractive to actually use progressive web apps in South Africa, because you're only losing out on about 15% of the market. Now, so the big question is, will Apple eventually give in to the pressure that's building? Because they pretty much the only thing, in my opinion, and I've done a bit of research trying to understand why PWAs haven't taken off like wildfire. I think secretly behind the scenes, Google and Apple is quite scared of this technology. In a sense, they're promoting it, but they're also scared, because imagine everybody tomorrow is using PWAs instead of mobile apps. They'll lose out on all the sales, all the commission on all apps, on their Play stores, on their various app stores. Now that's a lot of money. So I'm not sure, I can only speculate what the reasons are. There are a lot of, I know Apple has a philosophy of trying to protect the end user and putting the end user in control. So it's all a matter of starting to lose control. People can now go to a website and put an app on their phone, and both these companies will start to lose control, which is in a certain sense great news for the end user, because it puts the control back in the end user, and it means that you can't monetize something that was monetized. People need to look at different business models, and you're not paying for the app, but you need to pay for the services you use on the app or whatever. So it puts control back in the end user, but at the same time, it also does open up the fact that, Apple won't be able to control what sort of notifications you get now. Now it suddenly becomes the supplier's choice and not the platform's choice. And I think that's, on the other side, a big concern that Apple probably has, is that it's the losing of control, and, for Google and Apple, the losing of monetization and income. So yes, so the big question is, will Apple ever give in? And that's open for very wild speculation. We all hope. All the developers in the world, I think, are crossing their fingers. But the good news is South Africa, it only has a 15% effect.
I think another thing that is quite a big advantage is the fact that when you've got a progressive web app, it automatically updates. So you don't have to push a mobile app like on the app stores that you would have to do for mobile apps, specifically like on the App Store or on Google Play Store. So it's a much quicker process.
Yes, because it's a website, it's a massive advantage, because now let's say you discover a bug in your app, for example, your mobile app. Now you need to go get the developers, all right, they need to go fix it. Now you need to commit that to the App Store. So let's say so you go to the Play Store on Android, now let's say you have an iOS as well, now you need to commit it to the App Store. Now we've seen this movie. And it can be very finicky to, do a release, especially to the Apple's App Store. They tend to be very intrusive in checking your applications, and it's quite a time-consuming process. So now you put the bug fix out there, but now, depending on the update settings on the specific persons, you might have set auto update, you might not. So now the customer has to, wait for this auto update, or if it's not, they might not even be aware. So now your customers start complaining about bugs that you fixed long ago, but it hasn't been installed on devices. Now, a progressive web app is pretty much a website. So if you make a change on the website, it's available for everybody on all devices immediately. And I'm not sure if you mentioned the fact that a progressive web app also installs very quickly. And the fact that it's also very small, it tends to be much smaller than a mobile app, because it's just very, it uses the same technology on a website, and websites are typically quite small.
I think the big takeaway today is when you compare progressive web apps with mobile apps, it quacks like a duck, it walks like a duck, it just ain't a duck. So yeah, definitely the best kept secret out there. Thank you, Martin, for this very useful information again, and let's see more progressive web apps out there.
Thanks, Melanie.